first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Yes, indeed. This is Fox 12 Now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, we appreciate you being a part of this show here every weekday afternoon for Fox 12 Now. We live stream here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, from the desk right here, and then all these segments are available afterwards. So make sure that you can check them out at KPTV.com, the Fox 12 Oregon app, YouTube, plenty of places to see it and share it and check out everything else that we get to talk about and cover here. But today, we're talking about something that's going to be here in Portland very soon, later on in August. It's the return of Cirque du Soleil with KOOZA. This is the one. This is the one that's coming here, and we're going to be talking all about that right now with the artistic director himself, Rob Tannion. And Rob, thank you very much for joining us here today. I'm excited to get a preview of what's coming up, what people can expect, and just being back here in Portland. But to start off, I always like to find out how people's career paths lead them to where they are. I mean, how does one become an artistic director for Cirque du Soleil? Like, where does that begin?
Well, look, I have to say, firstly, I think it's the luckiest job in the world. How did I get it? Not quite sure. I'm still trying to work that one out. Look, I had a career path as a performing artist, and I went into kind of choreography and direction, and ended up finding myself working in some major large-scale musicals where I discovered circus, and then found I had an affinity both for working with circus and circus artists and large groups. One thing led to another, and then, as I was hitching on the side of the road one day, Cirque du Soleil picked me up.
It's like, hey, come on board. You look like you belong here. Well, what is it? What was it about the circus side of things that was so attractive to you? Like, what was it that drew you into that?
Look, I think the definitely for me the thing that attracts me about circus is the incredible skill that the artists have. Yes, and they play and the play with risk, that is real risk or perceived risk. I think that is first and foremost. I have the utmost respect because they basically train through this period of failure until they finally achieve this level that they want to achieve. What I love about circus particularly is it's one of those art forms that really still embraces a sense of nostalgia for a lot of people, the sensation of the coming together, a collective experience. And inside a Cirque du Soleil big top, like, that is so true. We go on a journey. It's not just a show. We go on a journey for 2 hours with people, and hopefully we let them take home some great memories.
I mean, it is such a tangible thing because you're there, you're under the same building, you're with everybody in the crowd, but also there with the artists. And I would imagine, for you, that, as you mentioned there, that's one of the big things, is having that live audience. Is that part of that interaction and part of the excitement?
Yeah, without a doubt. Like it's a, I don't want to go esoterical, but there's an exchange, right? Whether that's an energy exchange, an awe exchange, when the audience is engaged and they're really there and kind of leaning forward into their seats, the artists feel it and the artists respond to that. It's not to say if there's a quieter audience, we don't work harder. We absolutely work harder to try and get people in and on board with us. But yeah, it's a really amazing collective sharing.
Well, and for the performance itself, for all of these performers, they're specialized. I mean, I'm sure they could do a lot of different things, but you have people who are specialized in one area or one type of performance. So having all of these, incredibly gifted performers, and then somehow having to stitch together a show and a theme to that seems incredibly challenging. And you having all of that coming together. So can you tell us about KOOZA itself and what that is and what kind of the goal is behind that?
So look, KOOZA was originally created in 2007 by one of the world's best clowns, a man called David Shiner. So David and Cirque du Soleil, they started putting together this concept and show. It has continued to evolve. It is now Cirque's longest running touring show in its original format. Some have gone away and become arena shows and come back. It celebrates two main things: the art of clowning and the art of acrobatics in their purest form. So guaranteed lots of laughs and guaranteed very large a combination of large-scale acts that are like the Wheel of Death or a double highway, which you won't see in other Cirque shows, as well as a combination of a large-scale teeterboard act, hula hoops, Diablo, a carrying game. Like the skills are just kind of ongoing, but it is all wrapped into this story of the KOOZA coming out of the box of KOOZA, the trickster and the innocent. So the trickster is a little bit like the mischief maker, and the innocent is a little bit of a coming of age story for this character who goes on a journey with the trickster through the world of KOOZA.
Wow. I mean, just looking at some of the footage right here too, for everybody who's watching this, just seeing all of these different performers, all of these things happening at the same time, costumes, all of that. You know, for the performers, I guess, let me ask this: how many are there? How many performers are there during any given, you know?
So we have 54 artists who are on stage or in the show. All of them will perform. We have 35 nationalities. I was just trying to think if we've had a changeover in addition, but I think we've got 35 nationalities. So, you know, arranging things sometimes is a little bit complex because we've, you know, at times we're using Google Translate, a lot of gesticulation. But this is the beauty of Cirque and circus, right? It's a truly international art form, and we look for the world's best. So that's what makes KOOZA so unique, is the bringing together of these incredible people telling the story of the trickster and the innocent through the eyes of KOOZA.
So finding these artists all over the world, wherever they may be, whatever, you know, as you mentioned, all these different languages and nationalities, but just speaking that universal language of circus, I guess, if
Yep.
I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, perfectly put. I might rip that off and use it later.
Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you know, on the artistic direction side, what are some of the main factors that you look for and think about when you're putting this together?
Look, the audience experience has to be our number one goal. When I first started with Cirque, the senior artistic director I was working with phrased it so beautifully, which was my role is to ensure the highest quality of show given the conditions of the day. And given the conditions of the day is not a get out of jail free card. It is, I might have injuries to deal with. There could be sickness going around. We could have technical issues. There could be someone in the audience who's not feeling well. Like, it could be anything. And although I consistently work with presenting KOOZA and the best version of KOOZA, it's like a sprint marathon some days. Like, really, even on a 2-show day, what we've presented in show 1 all of a sudden has done a hairpin turn, and it's like, okay, so this act is out. I need to try and get a backup act in, and we've got about 45 seconds to do that. So we work a lot on contingencies, and with the ideal goal that the audience never knows. So what we see above the surface is super calm and flows beautifully. Put it this way: if I had hair, I would be ripping it out some days.
just a frenzy in the background. I mean, yeah, with all of those factors going into that, you know, even down to, as you mentioned, tech. Sometimes microphones don't work, or a light doesn't work, or whatever. Yeah, and trying to troubleshoot that in the middle of all of that other stuff. That's a feat into its own.
Yeah, and the brilliant thing is we do have, of course, the artists are our what we see front facing. We've got a site team, we've got an incredible technical team that looks after everything from the props to the rigging to the lighting to the sound. The wardrobe department. For me personally, and this is where I'll put my bias on the line here. The costumes in KOOZA, for me, are hands down the most beautiful of all costumes of all the Cirque shows. They're so detailed, they're really, really intricate, and they're beyond beautiful. Of course, the incredible makeup, but then our front of house teams, like, there is just so many people here that put this show together. And that's the real, I guess, mind-blowing part for me at times. We only experience what we experience when we see it on stage.
Wow. Well, for all of that, for all of these people that are involved in this, you know, you guys travel together, you're going to different cities, and you're there for a pretty good amount of time. I believe you're here in Portland for about a month and a half or so. And doing that, what is that like as far as coming into a city like that? Because yes, you're performing, I'm sure you're working a lot, but also you're living somewhere for that amount of time.
Yeah,
You get to go out and check out the cities or the locations where you're at.
yeah, absolutely. Look, the great thing about big top touring is we have time to it's a lifestyle choice. Absolutely, it's not for everyone. You know, if you like that regular like gym membership or having a pet on tour, pet on tour, a pet at home. There's certain things we have to give up. But the great thing for me is I get to explore. New cities, new kind of cultural areas, in each city that I go to. And that's the real plus for me is it's not that we arrive and we stay insular. We go out and we try and explore. And because everyone's looking for that next adventure, we're all messaging each other going, okay, great, you've got to go and check out all of these areas.
Yeah, oh, I would imagine so. A whole team thing like, hey, this restaurant's the place, this is some place to go, and everybody's tying together. Well, for coming into Portland, what are you expecting? And I guess maybe first off, have you been to Portland before?
No, I have never been to Portland, as you can tell by my Australian accent. No, I have not. Unfortunately, I have a sister who lives up in Seattle, so I'm not. I know the weather up that side. I have no idea what the weather is like down in Portland, but from what I've seen, there's a lot of beautiful nature around there that I'm really into looking at doing some hiking if possible. So yeah, that's my.
You're about an hour and a half from the beach. You're an hour and a half from the mountains, and then maybe 2 hours from High Plains Desert. So you got a lot of good hiking territory, and the Columbia River Gorge. So it's going to be pretty nice on that. Well, for audiences here in Portland who are going to get a chance to go experience this, what do you want them to walk away with after seeing a KOOZA performance?
That's a great question. I think it's about being able to be transported somewhere else, right? We're in a really polarized world right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not to say let's leave everything behind, but I think it's a chance just to come in, to experience awe and wonder, to be able to laugh, to have a collective experience with 2,500 other people. That does create a memory, and it creates a real bond between you as the artist and the performers on stage, and they become memories of a lifetime. So I think it's that. Just come in with an open mind and open heart, and come on a journey with us.
It's like that kind of a mental and a physical vacation, just away from everything else. It's all going to be there when you get out. But get away from that for a minute. That's great. Well, and can you let everybody know too, because you're going to be here in town. It's later on in August. Do you happen to have the start date?
Yeah, so we have our very first preview on. So I'm just checking here. I prepped on the we have a first preview on the 21st of August. Official premiere is on the 22nd, and we run through until the 6th of October.
6th of October. So some chances there for everybody to see, but I know it's going to be a pretty popular show. And I believe we may be coming out too to do a little bit of a walkthrough and a tour out there too. So I'm looking forward to that in a few weeks.
I will welcome you personally.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Well, then I'll see you shortly then, here in just a few weeks for that. But, Rob, thank you very much for joining us here today, too, just to talk about this and give your perspective. And love hearing about how people get into what they're into, and then just also the fact of, this amazing performance that's going to be here in town, and people get a chance to see it. So thanks for doing so, and looking forward to you checking out Portland as well.
Thank you so much, Greg.
You bet, and have a good one.
Okay, thank you.
And for everybody watching too, this is Fox 12 Now. We're live here from the newsroom, so we cover a lot of different segments and conversations that we get to have here throughout the day. So thanks for being a part of that. Don't forget to go to kptv.com, click on the Fox 12 Now tab. You can download the Fox 12 Oregon app. Those are great ways to watch all the segments here. In just a little bit, we're going to be talking about opinion polls. I told you we cover everything here on this show. So these are some opinion polls that were put out asking Oregonians how they feel about public schools. I'm sure everybody's got an opinion on that, and you can voice yours as well in the comments when we do that segment, but that's coming up here shortly, so you can join me right back here at 1:45. If you're watching afterward, maybe you can go watch it right now. So it's always there on demand. But thanks for joining us. I'll talk to you in just a few. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.